There's something almost magical about pulling a tray of warm chocolate chip cookies out of the oven. The aroma alone can make a kitchen feel like home. That first bite, with its golden crispy edge giving way to a soft, gooey center where rich chocolate pools in every bite, is a memory nearly every American shares. Chocolate chip cookies aren't just dessert. They're woven into our culture, from childhood bake sales to late-night snacks, from school lunchboxes to holiday gatherings. They're a treat that bridges generations, bringing comfort, nostalgia, and pure joy in one simple cookie. But behind this classic American indulgence lies a fascinating story, and today we're going to dive deep into the history, evolution, and mouth-watering process of how chocolate chip cookies, and a few of their cousins, rose to iconic status. The story of the chocolate chip cookie begins in 1938 in Whitman, Massachusetts, where Ruth Graves Wakefield, a dietitian and co-owner of the Toll House Inn, was experimenting with desserts. Legend has it she chopped up a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar and folded the pieces into her cookie dough, hoping they would melt and create chocolate-flavored cookies. Instead, the chunks held their shape, giving birth to a brand-new treat that was unlike anything before. The accidental creation quickly became a hit among guests at the inn, and when a Boston newspaper printed the recipe, the cookie's popularity exploded. It wasn't long before American soldiers in World War II began sharing these cookies overseas, introducing them to other countries and sparking international fascination. What began as a happy kitchen accident soon became a global symbol of comfort, home, and Americana. Nestle, quick to recognize the goldmine they had stumbled upon, partnered with Wakefield in 1939. In exchange for a lifetime supply of chocolate, they printed her recipe on their chocolate bar packaging. That simple marketing move didn't just spread the recipe, it revolutionized baking itself. Nestle began producing chocolate chips, making it easier than ever for home bakers to recreate the now famous Toll House chocolate crunch cookie. That invention, tiny uniform pieces of chocolate designed specifically for baking, remains one of the most American innovations in the dessert world. From then on, chocolate chip cookies weren't just a recipe, they became a tradition. Fast forward to today, and the chocolate chip cookie has taken on countless forms and variations. It's no longer confined to the Toll House recipe. Across the United States, bakeries and home kitchens have been reimagining this classic treat in creative ways, but one name rises above the rest when it comes to legendary cookies: Levain Bakery in New York City. Known for making what many call the best chocolate chip cookie in the world, Levain has built a cult following that draws tourists and locals alike. Their cookies are thick, rustic, and unapologetically massive, each one weighing about 6 ounces, big enough to share though few people want to. Levain's best-selling flavors include chocolate chip walnut, chocolate peanut butter, double chocolate, and oatmeal raisin. But the chocolate chip walnut cookie is the true star. The process of making them is deceptively simple yet executed with incredible precision. Butter, sugar, eggs, flour, chocolate chips, and walnuts are whisked together into a dough that, at first glance, might look a little uneven. That's intentional. The cold cubes of butter are only partially softened, ensuring that when baked, the cookies maintain a chunky, textured bite. Each portion of dough is weighed carefully, shaped into a rough ball without smoothing it out too much, because those jagged edges help create the rustic look that Levain is famous for. Baking begins in ovens preheated to exactly 375 degrees Fahrenheit. The dough balls, spaced carefully apart, bake for about 15 to 20 minutes, rotated halfway through to ensure an even golden crust. The edges crisp beautifully while the centers remain soft and gooey, almost molten. When the cookies come out, they're left to rest for 10 minutes on the baking sheet, giving them time to set while keeping that irresistible warm center intact. It's this balance of crispy edges and gooey middle that makes Levain cookies legendary. Fresh from the oven, still steaming and studded with melty chocolate, they're best enjoyed with a cold glass of milk, or simply on their own as a decadent indulgence. What makes Levain's cookies even more iconic is their size. At nearly half a pound each, they're not just snacks, they're experiences. The thick, doughy texture appeals to those who love their cookies slightly underbaked, and the combination of visible chocolate chunks and crunchy walnuts makes every bite feel handmade and comforting. For many visitors to New York, a stop at Levain has become as essential as visiting Times Square or Central Park. It's not just about eating a cookie, it's about experiencing one of the city's most beloved culinary traditions. Of course, Levain isn't the only bakery putting its own spin on the classic. New York City alone boasts several bakeries that have elevated the chocolate chip cookie into something extraordinary. Jacques Torres, famously known as Mr. Chocolate, crafts cookies using a unique blend of cake flour and bread flour, achieving a texture that's crispy on the outside yet satisfyingly chewy inside. His cookies are often made with large chocolate discs that melt into layers, creating puddles of chocolate in every bite. Dominique Ansel, the French pastry genius behind the cronut, has his own version that leans into simplicity and quality. His recipe combines milk and semi-sweet chocolate chunks for a balanced sweetness that highlights the chocolate without overpowering the dough. Meanwhile, Oprah Winfrey herself helped popularize a nutty take on the cookie when she included Maman's chocolate chip cookies on her favorite things list. These cookies stand out because of their rich mix of nuts, almonds, macadamia nuts, and walnuts, giving them a crunch that contrasts perfectly with the melty chocolate. Each of these variations proves that the chocolate chip cookie, though rooted in tradition, has endless room for innovation. But cookies aren't the only chocolate treat that captures the American sweet tooth. While chocolate chip cookies are often associated with comfort and nostalgia, another chocolate confection has earned its reputation as a more refined, after-dinner indulgence: chocolate mints. These little bites of heaven pair a refreshing burst of mint with the smooth creaminess of chocolate, creating a perfect balance of flavors that cleanse the palate while satisfying a sweet craving. They've become a classic accompaniment to dinners at restaurants, hotel check-ins, and even holiday gatherings, offering a touch of sophistication alongside indulgence. Behind the scenes, the process of making chocolate mints is every bit as fascinating as baking cookies. It begins with high-quality chocolate, melted down to just the right temperature, ensuring it will have a glossy finish and the perfect snap once cooled. The mint filling, often made with peppermint oil or extract, is whipped into a smooth, creamy consistency before being layered or coated in chocolate. Timing is everything: too warm and the filling seeps out, too cool and the chocolate cracks. Factories that specialize in chocolate mints use precision machinery to strike that perfect balance, producing thousands of uniform candies that still feel handmade in flavor and texture. When you look at these treats together, chocolate chip cookies and chocolate mints, you see two sides of America's relationship with chocolate. On one hand, the cookie represents home, comfort, nostalgia, and the joy of sharing. On the other, chocolate mints embody elegance, refinement, and a touch of luxury. Both, however, prove that chocolate remains at the heart of our dessert culture. The reason these sweets remain timeless is simple: they connect us. A batch of cookies can bring neighbors together, cheer up a rainy day, or become the centerpiece of a family gathering. A small piece of chocolate mint can end a meal on a high note, leaving a lingering sweetness and a memory of hospitality. Whether it's the rustic, oversized Levain cookie or the delicate, glossy chocolate mint, both remind us that dessert is never just about sugar and flour. It's about tradition, creativity, and the simple human desire to savor life's sweeter moments. Have you ever bitten into a piece of chocolate and mint together and instantly felt that perfect balance of rich sweetness and cool refreshment? It's one of those timeless flavor combinations that feels almost magical, and in the United States, chocolate mints have a history that stretches back over a century. While the pairing of chocolate and mint was first embraced in Europe, it didn't take long for Americans to fall in love with it, turning it into one of the most iconic treats in the country. From fine dining restaurants of the early 20th century to Girl Scout cookie drives in suburban neighborhoods, chocolate and mint have become a flavor duo that symbolizes comfort, elegance, and tradition. But the story doesn't stop there. The way these candies are made in modern factories is just as fascinating as their history, blending tradition with innovation, and tying in sustainability to ensure these sweet delights continue to charm future generations. In the United States, the rise of chocolate mints began in the early 1900s, when upscale restaurants began offering them as an after-dinner indulgence. By the 1920s, they were considered a mark of refinement, something to enjoy at the end of a meal that left you refreshed and satisfied. Diners appreciated how the cool minty freshness could cleanse the palate after rich foods while the chocolate satisfied cravings for sweetness. This elegant pairing wasn't just about taste, it became a cultural marker of sophistication. By the 1940s and 1950s, chocolate mints exploded into the mainstream. Brands like Andes Candies made them a household name, while Thin Mints cookies from the Girl Scouts added a grassroots, community-driven tradition that cemented their place in American homes. Generations of families have fond memories of ordering boxes of Thin Mints each year, storing them in freezers and savoring them one piece at a time. This unique combination of luxury, nostalgia, and accessibility is what makes chocolate mints such a beloved classic. Today the pairing is everywhere. You'll find it in cookies, cakes, ice creams, coffee drinks, and holiday candies. Walk through the aisles of any grocery store in America, and you'll notice just how versatile chocolate and mint have become. It's one of those rare pairings that bridges the gap between tradition and trend, comfort food and gourmet indulgence. But what goes on behind the scenes to create these perfect little bites? Let's dive into the fascinating process. It all begins with sugar, the backbone of any candy. In large factories, liquid sugar is pumped into heated mixers where granulated sugar is added and boiled into a bubbling syrup. Getting the consistency just right is crucial. Too thin and the candy won't hold its form, too thick and it becomes difficult to work with. Once the mixture reaches the desired texture, it's strained through pipes and moved into a secondary mixer. Here comes the magic moment, the infusion of mint flavor. This isn't just a drop of peppermint oil tossed in casually. It's a carefully measured balance designed to be strong enough to refresh but not so overpowering that it masks the chocolate. The mint mixture is kneaded in a specialized machine that ensures the flavor spreads evenly throughout the candy base, giving it that cool, invigorating taste we all recognize. Meanwhile, the chocolate is prepared in a separate process. Large chunks of chocolate are melted down and combined with cocoa powder, powdered milk, sugar, and sometimes coconut oil or other fats to create a silky, creamy texture. This ensures the chocolate is smooth enough to coat the mint candy while maintaining the right level of sweetness. Every detail matters. The temperature, the mixing speed, and even the order in which ingredients are added all affect the final flavor. Only after both elements, the mint base and the chocolate, are perfected can they come together. The mint mixture is shaped into long tubes and prepared for its chocolate coating. Imagine a conveyor line of glossy mint cylinders moving steadily toward a curtain of melted chocolate. As the warm chocolate flows over the cool mint base, a seamless fusion is created. This layered combination is then rolled out into flat sheets using specialized rollers, ensuring consistent thickness across the entire batch. Once set, the sheets are cut into precise dimensions. Workers and machines work hand in hand, checking for uniformity and quality. Even the texture is tested by machines that simulate biting, ensuring that every piece snaps just the way it should. Any defective pieces are quickly removed, leaving only the flawless candies to move forward. From here, the chocolate mints are cut into bite-sized portions and carefully packaged. The packaging process isn't just about presentation, it's about protecting freshness. Each piece is sealed tightly to prevent exposure to air and moisture, ensuring that when you finally open a box of chocolate mints, the aroma and taste are just as perfect as the day they were made. Workers oversee every stage of this automated process, making adjustments to keep everything consistent and efficient. By the time the boxes are loaded and shipped, the chocolate mints are ready for their journey to stores and homes across the country. But modern candy making isn't just about flavor and texture, it's also about responsibility. Many chocolate mint manufacturers today are setting ambitious sustainability goals. They aim to source cocoa and mint ethically by working directly with farmers and supporting communities that grow these ingredients. By promoting sustainable farming practices, protecting forests and reducing emissions in their factories, they're making sure that indulging in a piece of candy doesn't come at the cost of the planet. It's a vision of the future where chocolate lovers can feel good about the treats they enjoy. Now let's take a detour into another American candy favorite, Swedish Fish. These chewy, colorful little gummies have a completely different texture and flavor profile from chocolate mints, but they share the same nostalgic connection for many Americans. First created in the 1950s by the Swedish candy company Malaco, they were inspired by Sweden's fishing culture. Shaped like tiny fish, they quickly became a fun and playful treat. By the 1960s, Swedish Fish had made their way to the United States, where they grew into an international hit. For many, they're tied to childhood memories, bags of Swedish Fish shared at movie theaters, road trips, or after-school snacks. What makes them so beloved is their unique chewy texture and fruity flavor that seems to last longer than other gummy candies. The process of making Swedish Fish is just as fascinating as eating them. The main ingredients include sugar, corn syrup, starch, and gelatin, along with natural flavorings and food coloring. The sugar and corn syrup are heated in massive mixers to create a thick, honey-like liquid that will form the base of the candy. But what makes Swedish Fish production unique is the use of cornstarch molds. A layer of cornstarch is spread out on trays and pressed with fish-shaped indentations. This creates the perfect molds for the hot candy mixture. When the syrup is poured into these molds, it fills the fish shapes precisely, while the thin coating of cornstarch prevents sticking and gives the candy its smooth surface. The trays are then moved into cooling systems where the temperature is gradually reduced, allowing the candy to firm up while maintaining that iconic chewy texture. Once cooled, the candies are gently removed from the molds, revealing rows of colorful little fish. At this point, they look just like the ones you'd find in a bag at the store. But before they're ready to be packaged, They undergo a few finishing touches to ensure consistency and quality. Finally, the Swedish Fish are sent through automated packaging lines, where bags are sealed airtight to lock in freshness before making their way to store shelves. Like many modern candy brands, Swedish Fish manufacturers are also embracing more sustainable practices. This includes using recycled packaging materials, reducing emissions in their factories, and finding new ways to minimize waste. In an industry that relies so heavily on agricultural ingredients and global distribution, these efforts play a vital role in shaping a more responsible future. When we look at chocolate mints and Swedish Fish side by side, they couldn't be more different in taste and texture. One is rich, creamy, and refreshing, while the other is fruity, chewy, and playful. Yet both represent the same thing: the power of candy to connect people to memories, traditions, and simple moments of joy. Whether it's the sophistication of a chocolate mint after dinner or the fun of tearing open a bag of Swedish Fish, these treats hold a special place in American culture. So the next time you pop a chocolate mint into your mouth or grab a handful of Swedish Fish, take a moment to think about the journey those little candies have been on. From sugar boiled in massive mixers to sustainable farming practices, from early 20th century dining rooms to childhood movie nights, each piece tells a story that's far bigger than what you taste. Candy isn't just about sweetness, it's about history, culture, innovation, and the way something so small can bring a smile to millions of faces. And maybe, just maybe, that's why these classic treats continue to endure in a world where food trends come and go.